but I think they're getting caught now.
That's these damn cameras.
I know it, yeah.
If it wasn't for the cameras, I'd probably get away with more.
Look at that shot right there. I mean, if you can't see a guy, if he's cutting across there, you're blind, you know?
Pretty much. Now, this is up on the big screen here at the racetrack, and they're able to watch this streaming on the internet. So we've got internet folks.
Oh,
so
neat.
it's a pretty neat deal. They're getting a couple pace laps. We've got the cars coming down the front straight and trying to get a little heat into those tires as we get set for the start. Once again, this is a 50-minute race. We've got Roberto Guerrero in the 46A and the 42 of Al Unser Jr. and Peter Kloot on the second row. So they're going to be the ones that are going to take them down towards turn one. I think that's the biggest problem is trying to get those
right
cars. That's it.
Yeah. But just look at that. That's a long straightaway. It on the camera it looks like a short one, but that's really the whole straightaway length at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway front straightaway. That is the front straightaway.
It is just about, and it's amazing what they've done here for this road course. But I think the first corner is going to be the hardest one.
Well, what we look for there are some accidents, of which today we don't want any. We want to see all the cars finish. We want to see them get through the first turn with no problems, because that's what makes the race good. You know, it's the last lap when you're really grunting for your winner.
That's it.
Or
that's
your favorite.
But I know when you get this many cars, we've got 34 cars out there on the racetrack, and you get that front group of maybe 8 to 10, those front group of cars, they start woeing up, getting ready for turn one, and you've still got those guys in the back 10 that are still on the pedal.
Oh, yeah.
And that compression of the field where they all start bunching up going into that corner, that's where you can have issues.
Another thing to remember right now is that these are the amateur drivers. The pros have not stepped in yet. They'll come up during the change of the drivers.
The last thing the amateur driver wants to do is to mess up his own car.
We call that screwing up. No screwing up.
Don't sugarcoat it. It isn't messing up. It's screwing up.
They'll be careful, because some of them have some really, you look at, I just saw a car go by, said Bill Elliott.
Who is he?
That's NASCAR fame. He was one of the fastest drivers that ever was in stock cars for many years.
That's for sure.
A good friend of mine.
And
nice guy.
And paired up with Ray Evernham.
Yeah, how do you like that? One of the best mechanics, team managers that NASCAR ever had. So I'd like to think that we've got the cream of their crop up here today.
That we do. Bill Elliott and Ray Evernham. Ray Evernham behind the wheel now of the number 9 red Mustang, starting up towards the front. You'll see that one in row 6. And there we've got a start. The green flag waves, and into the early lead goes O'Donnell in the 46A. Al Unser Jr. tagging along behind as they head down towards the first corner. And let's see what happens here. So far, everybody's through clean. Somebody on the brakes.
See the guy on the bottom on the inside there? He had to stop and go around. Now, had he gone straight across there, he would have been penalized, because that's cutting across. So they paid attention to the driver's meeting. I like that.
About time, huh?
Usually they don't, you know.
Out of turn 6, headed down towards turn 7. This is the backstretch, and it's the O'Donnell car, the 46A, that is out in front, and then Ed Savagian in the 36. That car will soon have Willie T. Ribbs behind the wheel.
Now remember again, for everybody that's listening, these are the amateur drivers. Like we just saw Roberto Guerrero go by. He's not driving it yet. He'll drive it when they change the drivers over during the pit stop.
That's a smart move, too, because I think what they wound up doing was putting the amateurs in there first, because they're going to take care of their own cars, let the field get spread out a bit. And then when the pros get in the car, they'll have a little bit of space around them and get to work that wheel and work those corners.
But you know, John, some of these amateurs are really quite fast.
They
are.
In
other words, for a good amateur here and a good car, and then get a good pro in with him, they've got a good chance of winning the race, and that's many times. Look how many cars we have in this race. There's our leader right there.
That's O'Donnell going by in the 46A.
Long front straightaway.
Ed Savagian in the 36, the 42 of Peter Kloot, Kirk Blaha in the number 3, and the top 5 is complete with the number 61 in the E-Type Jaguar, Larry Ligas. Running 6th at the moment, Kurt Vogt in the number 23, the 17 of Mark Reif, Shannon Ivey in car number 7, 33B, Donahue and Ray Evernham in car number 9. He's in the top 10. He's running 10th at the moment as O'Donnell comes out with that front spot once again as they head down. Can't make out which corner this is. I think it might be 7.
Something about Evernham I have to tell you. You know, he isn't a race driver. He's one of the most famous mechanics ever in NASCAR type racing.
Worked with somebody named Gordon for a while.
Yeah.
The little Gordon boy.
Yeah. But the guy can do anything. Now, when he showed up here, and I heard he was going to be a driver, I said, wait a minute. He's teaming up with Elliott, one of the best.
Yep.
And yet Evernham is the mechanic. Well, he's not allowed to cheat on the car, so he's going to have to drive pretty hard. So we're going to see how much difference there is between a mechanic and a driver.
That's for sure.
Same guy, Ray Evernham. What a nice man he is, too.
I don't think there's a bad apple in this bunch.
No.
Some shady ones, but not a bad one.
I know. But, you know, some of these guys have been around a lot of years.
And look at the way the field is spreading out already as we've got cars coming down the front straight, exiting turn 14, headed down that long Indianapolis front straight. If they were going the other way, your way, they'd be between turns 4 and 1. But now they're headed backwards.
On the big track, this is coming out of turn 4. You can see how on the right bottom, you can see on your screen that it's curving a little bit on the outer wall. That's the soft wall. And so it gives you a long front straightaway, a long ways.
And boy, those soft walls sure helped save a lot of drivers.
Oh, I wish we'd have had them when I was racing. That would have been nice.
There's Little Al's car soon. That is the number 42, Peter Kloot behind the wheel. And Peter's he's been kind of fudging a bit. He's been running his car in the SVRA classes. Then he's gotten into one of the Trans Am cars, was running that. Now he's in the Pro Am. So he's really looking for some track time here this weekend.
See, that's one of those guys that I told you really is a good race driver.
Yeah, he's thinking.
He could be classified as a pro. I'm not going to say he should be, but he could be.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to run near as fast as Little Al does. That's his teammate, say.
We'll see. So far, we've got a fast lap of the race. Let's see. Let me change this screen here.
There you can see how long the front straightaway is. Gives you more of a feel. You know, they come onto the straightaway pretty fast. Time they get to the other end, those cars are just tapped out. They just won't go much faster. Because look at how much straightaway they really have to go. And plus, again, entering it at a fast speed. They're probably coming onto that straightaway, I bet you, at 80 miles an hour.
Oh, I'm sure. Currently, what we've got is a fastest race lap out there. It looks like a 1:37.6, and that was set by Ed Savagian in car number 36, and that car is your current leader, the number 36 of Savagian. Average speed 89.5 miles an hour around this 2.4 mile 14 turn road course. Back to second goes the 46A of O'Donnell. Then it's the 42 of Peter Kloot, the 3 of Kirk Blaha, and the E-Type Jaguar of Larry Ligas, number 61. Those are your front 5. And we've got the video up there of number 36. Again, that's Ed Savagian, the amateur driver. He is your current leader.
And that's also Willie T. Ribbs.
Yep.
And one of our favorite guys.
He was fun to watch in the IMSA series when he was on that Dick's team with David Hobbs.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that should have made it on into the Indy cars and kept on going that way. But instead, he started shooting shotguns. You know, he and his kid are world-class shotgun shooters.
I did see that.
About world-class.
His son was
local.
Wasn't his son going for an Olympics position?
Oh, I
believe.
I'm sure. Tell tails like, I mean, I'm Uncle Bobby to him. It's been that way since probably he was born, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
Willie T. Ribbs was sure a hell of a driver in his time, too.
He was really good. He was really a lot better than people gave him credit for.
I think that's true.
A lot better.
Ed Savagian, the car owner and amateur driver for Willie T. Ribbs in this race. Willie will be getting in the car a little bit later after the pit stop. Coming out of the corner, right behind him, though, is O'Donnell in the 46A running second. And there's your namesake there, Little Al, Al Unser Jr.'s car. Peter Clute, the driver and car owner. Car number 3 running in fourth, Kirk Blaha. And we just got a glimpse there of that E-Type Jag. Mark Reif running in the number 17. And also closing up the 33B, Donahue behind the wheel. Back with our leader, Ed Savagian.
Well, he's using that car hard. Look how his turns are really good. He goes in at the right place, hits the apex, which that means when you get closest to the white line, and then coming out, the angle, the arc that they use coming out. You can tell by that they're going kind of fast. And you can tell the difference between the fast ones and the slow ones if you just watch them through the same turns.
You build up your rhythm. Geese through there and make it look smooth. The smoother you are, the faster you are. They tell you that you need to learn how to go slow to go fast.
Well, that's for sure. But, you know, that kind of comes natural. Going fast gets hard.
Yes. Yeah, once you get up to speed, it's hard knocking down some of those tents at the top.
See, look at those good lines through there. I mean, those guys have got it down pat. They're really doing a good job. Right to left, down to the bottom. We call that the apex. Right down there all the time. Hit it the same all the time. That's what really counts.
That consistency.
And that's going to be the Sarah Fisher car.
Right.
That's our one girl, has the go-kart track almost across the street here. My little girlfriend. Sarah's such a nice person. You know, I watched her drive a midget. First time out in close to Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I didn't know they had any girls. I hadn't seen a midget race for a long time. And they tell me how they got a girl driving a midget and she may win the race that day. I said, you got to be kidding. I said, I'm going to stay and watch the race. So I got up on top one of the trailers and I watched that whole race. And I'm telling you that Sarah, she didn't win that day, but boy, did she come close.
Had a lot of potential in Indy cars, too. And it looks like Larry Ligas in the E-Type Jaguar has gotten around Kirk Blaha in the number 3 Corvette. So a change of position there as they swap going past start-finish. We now have the 61 of Ligas up into third, drops the number 3 back to fourth. Also moving up a spot, Kurt Vogt in the number 23 as he moves up, as does the 17 of Mark Reif.
Now that was a good pass. Did you see that? Number 61 went right by the number 3 on the outside. Boy, those are good passes when you see that happen. I thought he was going to have to back out and go for the brakes.
I'm not sure these guys know how to do that either.
Well, they might have their brakes hot by now. I just started to say that. Maybe he couldn't stop.
So far, I'm not seeing any activity on pit road at the moment, at least from what I can see. So that's a good sign. We should have most of those cars out there.
Well, they're all figuring their own strategies. You know, they've got their own pit crews just like big-time racing does. And they're just planning it out. They're waiting for certain things to get to a certain position. That means where their car is reference to the others. And then they'll come in and pit. And if you'll notice, when they make the pit stops, they won't be in that much of a hurry because they do have 5 minutes. If they get it done, they can't leave before 5 minutes.
Right.
So they've got to come in, do 5 minutes there. That gives them time enough to hook up all their safety devices, all their straps, their shoulder harnesses and everything, and they take off. But after that's when we're going to see the pros come in.
And that'll be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun for them as well. I got to ask you, you had a great deal of success in IndyCar racing. You had a great deal of success at the hill climb at Pikes Peak. You've had some other fun rides out there. If you had to look back on your career, regardless of the money made and what happened, what would you say is the thing that you liked the best? Was it when you started, when you finished? What was something in the middle? What was the high point that you feel?
It was just racing. I loved to race, and yes, I did have tracks that I liked the most or better than the other ones, but generally speaking, you make your living at all the racetracks. So a racetrack is a racetrack. If it's a road circuit like this one today, that's okay. You just learn how to do that. If it's running around the big oval, the Indianapolis 500, going the other way, obviously, than these cars are today, but you learn how to do that, and you get used to it. So if people say, what's the most important race? This is the most important race.
The one you're in now.
But one I liked the most would have probably been Pikes Peak. That's because it was like picking on a bunch of cripples up there in a way. I was just faster than they were most of the time. And I knew how to make my cars really go fast at Pikes Peak. See, I didn't do all the work. The cars did a lot of the work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at an engine over here at Speedway Motors today. They've got an engine that supposedly came from Smokey Yunick, the most famous engine builder that we probably had in the United States in history. And he built my engine for my Pikes Peak win with Ford Motor Company. In other words, Bunky Knudsen, who ran Ford, wanted the record up there, and asked me if I'd go do it, and I said, yes, sir, I will. But I said, I got to have Bunky Knudsen, or excuse me,
Smokey
Yunick build the engine. I'm talking to Bunky Knudsen. and he just looked at me and he says, whatever you want. So
that was the attitude to have for those car manufacturers then. If they wanted to race on Sunday, sell on Monday, they needed to leave the racing alone.
Yeah. And that's the way it was. And having a Smokey Yunick engine was like, you better win. Come on, you've got the best there is now.
Yeah, Smokey's Garage. There's some legendary stories happened in there.
Yeah.
And they'll probably remain in there.
Well, some of them I hope so, because he was a good friend for many years, you know. So I can remember, so cute, I was doing a speaking deal with him in Las Vegas, and he can't hear. His ears had gone bad. Too much engine noise. And so what we do is we write it down. Somebody asks a question from the audience. I write it down. I didn't know I could write that fast. And I give it to Smokey, and he answers it. And people thought he could actually hear, and he couldn't hear a thing. Cute.
Now, did you ever run the Chili Bowl?
No, I didn't. I go to it every year.
That's a fun race.
Every year, absolutely. That's my yearly vacation, January vacation, however you want to call it. My wife and I, Lisa, we have an airplane. We jump in that sucker and go to the Chili Bowl, no matter what.
I've never had so much fun as at that race, just because of the way that it works, the number of drivers that they get, and the system that they have. That ladder to work your way up to making the A main is just it's a logistical nightmare for the drivers. They really get run through
400 cars. Sure.
Oh yeah.
People have to imagine. I didn't know there was that many midgets in the entire United States.
And they're getting drivers coming from Australia, New Zealand. Drag racer Ron Capps has run there.
Some of the NASCAR drivers show up.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, it's worth going to. And besides that, it's in January. What else would you do in January?
No better racing than you find at the Chili Bowl in January, that's for sure.
Number one.
And it's the only time that they race there, is that one time a year. Mm-hmm. Haul in all the dirt. Nobody's been on the track before that, and away they go. What a treat. Cars coming into the pits now. We've got the 00, Charles Bentley, and it looks like he'll be handing things off to A.J. Foyt IV. Meanwhile, up at the front, it's still Savajian in the 36. That's out in front of O'Donnell in the 46A, Kirk Blaha in the number 3. And also making a pit stop now, the 125 of Matt Parent. Parent coming in, and that'll be the driver's change as well.
Now, again, just so people know, look at that car right there. We're watching a pit stop. They're in a hurry, but not that big hurry, because they have 5 minutes to get this driver out, get the other one in, get all the straps hooked up, get the seat adjusted right. And so that time is just out of this world. We just forget about that. But when his 5 minutes is up, he's going to be hooking and going out with the pro driver. I'm just keep saying that so that people will understand what we're doing here.
That's perfect. And that looks like the 33 that's coming around. That is Del Canto behind the wheel at the moment. Davey Hamilton will be getting into that car soon in that Corvette Roadster.
There are so many pro drivers. I'm just thinking, Davey Hamilton's one of my really good buddies. I haven't even seen him this trip yet. That shows you how busy I've been doing autographs and etc.
Hey,
which I enjoy doing.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'm sure you're not done yet here at the Speedway.
I hope not.
And that's another thing that's very appreciated by the fans is the willingness of the drivers to say, in their own special way with that autograph, hey, thank you, appreciate you watching my sport and enjoying my sport and enjoying your work.
I think that is so nice that a person like myself can come back here and have so many people that are here and they really want an autograph. They're serious about it. They bring their kids with them. Everything is just nice. It just makes this whole program a little different, but really nice.
Yeah, vintage racing is really becoming a popular sport. There seems to be there are more people getting involved in it, and some racers coming out of retirement because they realize, you know, hey, I really missed that. I really miss the competitiveness. I don't want the pressure, but I miss that competitive edge there, and they'll come out and join up and get involved in vintage racing. Or things like this, where once a year you come out and you kind of come back to a racetrack that you really enjoyed running on for many years, like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
You know, this is their big deal, too. Yeah, I mean, there's supposed to be the pressure gone. It's supposed to be a relaxing, have fun race.
Yeah.
These guys are wired tighter than hell right now. I mean, you just can't believe they really want to win. And I mean the amateurs just as much as the pros. But the pros, it's obviously the pro against the pro.
Yeah.
Amateurs, the amateur against the amateur.
But you know what's going to happen later when this is over? There's going to be some drivers that are looking to see which was the fastest lap out there. And they're going to try and figure out, now, who was in the car then? Was it the amateur or was it the pro? Did I beat so-and-so or did so-and-so beat me?
A lot of good cars out here, a lot of good sports, but I just can't get over. I have not seen all the guys, just like I told you, Davey Hamilton. I know all those pro drivers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen but probably half of them. There's just so many people here this year, and it's just a fantastic program. But you take the pro drivers and then the amateur drivers and mix them up. I forget where I am. I mean, just to go along and see. Came in the other day, there's Bill Elliott. Now, I didn't think I was going to see Bill Elliott here. I mean, I haven't seen him for quite a while. He used to be a close friend, you know. And he's still a good driver.
Yep.
He hasn't gained any weight. He's still wearing the same uniform that he used to wear many years ago. It's amazing. And I told him his hair's getting a little gray, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers here that you look at them, and it looks like they'd still fit into their old driver's suit.
Look at that. Pass on the outside there now. That's the type of racing you want to see.
And that's that 61. That's that E-Type Jag of Larry Ligas that's there and working his way around the number 19 Cobra.
Beautiful car. Look at that. So pretty.
And that is Phil Mulichek behind the wheel of the Cobra. As they run down the backstretch into turn 7. Your current leader is still the 36, followed by the 46A, the 3, 33B, and 6. Those are your top 5. Driver changes, we're going through that now. Just saw the number 317 Mustang come in. Scott Hackinson handing off to Mark Dismore at this time. And it looks like Johnny's getting in the car over here, the Camaro, Johnny Unser. In car number 7, they're going through their pit stop and driver change.
We don't have enough people in our booth to do the timing of that 5-minute deal, but
No.
it kind of makes you wonder, when are they coming out? When did they go in?
And it looks like Davey Hamilton's in the car now. We were just talking about him a little while ago. Hamilton shown in 12th as they go through their pit stop. Hamilton now just completing his out lap. Also, John Martin has gotten into the car. Jimmy Kite behind the wheel. Robbie Unser's out there now, and the same for Johnny Parsons. Other driver changes taking place. A.J. Foyt the fourth, Jimmy Vassar. Mark Dismore getting into his car.
For the people that don't know, Robbie is my son. Little Al is my brother's son. I think most of the people probably know, but that's for the ones that don't know.
Got to keep him up there. And Jose Legarza will be behind the wheel of the number 33A, the white Corvette currently driven by Bob Lima. Jacques Lazier getting behind the wheel. Same for Dennis Firestone. A.J. Foyt the fourth. Looks like your brother's getting in too. Same goes for Paul Tracy, Bill Elliott, Davy Jones, and Little Al. So we're gonna have them all out there in just a couple minutes.
Question that I have for you: does your score sheet there, does that show who's driving the car now?
No, what it does is we get the differential between first and second,
right,
or the leader and them. And then over here with the last lap time, when you start seeing these long lap times like here, it shows a 6-minute lap. That's right, when they're going through their pit stop.
Okay.
So there's Al Unser trading off with Tony Perella. We've got A.J. Foyt the fourth trading off with Bentley.
Now
Darren Manning.
my brother.
Yeah.
Just got to mention that just a little bit. He's teaming with Tony Perella.
Right.
Tony's the guy that owns all of this stuff.
That's right. He's the president of SVRA.
Yeah, can you imagine him getting my brother Al for driver? Can you imagine him talking Al into coming here? And then he gets him as his co-driver. I just been waiting to see this deal.
I'll tell you what, when that happened, the smile on Tony's face,
yeah, I know,
on Tony Perella, he was so thrilled that Al was coming and that they'd get to drive together in this Pro-Am. It's, you know, if you had to put something on your bucket list, that'd be way up at the top for Tony Perella.
You just can't. He smiles from the inside out. He's
yeah,
so happy about that. Yeah.
And just to get all these drivers, you know, it's one thing to get the commitment to come, and it's another thing to have them all show up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I talked my brother into it. I just don't know. But he did, and Al is having a ball.
That's perfect.
Yeah, he's smiling all the time now.
I bet Al's telling Tony, don't tell him how you did this, because
yeah,
I don't want to hear from a lot of people.
Isn't that Tony's car they're driving too? Doesn't Tony own that car?
Yeah, the 05, that red 05 Corvette.
Show you Tony's not too smart, doesn't it? Get Al to drive it.
Well, at least he waited to put him in at second, so at least he got a few laps out there. We'll see what happens. Still have pit stops and driver changes going on. Can't quite make out the name and can't see the number, although there's the 27, and that's the car for Bob Lazier.
He won this thing a couple of years ago, I think it was.
That he did. And we're about at the halfway point, so all these pit stops should be just about over, and we'll get all the cars back on track with the pro drivers.
And we should be able to see what's on the windshield now.
Yeah, that one is Bob Lazier there in the 27. And that car currently in 23rd place. You know what else was a pleasant surprise here was to get Dick Simon out in the car.
Simple Simon, he was a nice guy. Boy, oh boy. I was in the same group with him for many years.
I bet you were.
We just nicknamed him Simple Simon. He was a simple guy to race. Just loved the racing.
And it looks like the number 6 Rick Treadaway. Interesting car there. That's a Mustang, has a right-hand drive.
Wow, English car.
Yeah. I had to look twice the first time it went by this weekend when it came out to go onto the track for practice. I'm just looking up to see what number it is and figure out who's behind the wheel. And I look, I go, wait a minute.
There's a name right there, Lynn St. James. She's a good girl. She's a good race driver.
Yeah.
That girl did really good.
And she's still enjoying racing. It's great to have her here. She teamed up with a lady named Cindy Cloud, who owns that Mustang.
Anybody should be happy to have Lynn drive with him. She's a good girl. Loves racing, does a good job, done a lot of schooling, a lot of advertising.
And a lot
all
for the
with
sport.
Racing. Yeah. Good girl. So she should be in the car right now. I'm sure she is.
Yeah. And right behind her, Jimmy Vassar in the number 125 red and yellow Corvette.
Now we'll have to see whether Jimmy can catch up to her or not here.
He's got his work cut out for him. Somebody's banging on the door in the back, too. Oh, this will be good. That's Johnny Parsons behind him.
Oh, is it?
And it looks like Jacques Lazier ready to get into the Mustang.
I don't know. Is he going to try to go in through the back, or is he going to go in through the front there? You got the deck lid open for something there.
I don't know. Maybe they're putting fuel in it. I don't know. So your front runner at the moment is the 46A, Roberto Guerrero, followed by the number 3, Sarah Fisher behind the wheel now, that black number 3 Corvette Roadster. Right down the straightaway in front of us goes the 46A of Guerrero, and should be headed into turn number 1 in a moment.
As an example, the Willie T. Ribbs car, they led it in the early part, and now they're in 6th place. So that'll show you sometimes how changing in the pit stops affects the positions on the track. But we'll let them settle down for a couple of laps and probably get a truer feeling about where they're really running now.
Pretty cool that there haven't been any yellows, huh?
Well, that's different. I think that drivers' meeting that I was telling you about earlier might have taken some effect that Tony did. And Tony wasn't talking about just his cars. He was talking about all of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure he meant his cars too. Don't bend my cars up anymore.
Exactly, because these guys still have more racing ahead of them.
Yeah.
In fact, they've got a race later on today for race group 6.
All right.
Let's see. That's going to happen about 4 o'clock. So the 36 coming in now. It looks like Willie will be getting behind the wheel now, or maybe he is. We'll see if that car goes out on track. That was the car Willie T. Ribbs was slated to drive, the number 36.
Now, it's the one I told you went back to 6th place for a while.
Right.
So we'll have to see what's going on there.
Yep, he's headed back out on track now. So Willie T. Ribbs behind the wheel of car number 36, and currently shown in 6th place. And look at this group coming down the front straight. That is your leader there, the second car in that group. That's the 46A, Roberto Guerrero behind the wheel.
You know, he's quick. He doesn't race much anymore, but that guy used to really be quick.
You know what he's doing now? He's up there with Davy Jones at that Jaguar autocross course, and he's been working with Jaguar as an instructor. So he's up there whipping one of those big Jag sedans around the autocross course, keeping it sharp up there, working the corners and working the throttle. Oh.
Looks like we have a mechanical here is what it looks like to me.
And that is the number 21.
Now, it's a question, did it quit? Does he have a...
And it seems that
like
it's...
look at the water coming out of the front. Yeah. He has a mechanical. That's water coming out of the front, not oil.
Not good. That marks paid to his day.
No.
And that was the entry of Corey Witherill and McCormick. So unfortunately, they won't make it to the checkered flag, but I'm sure both of those drivers had fun out there. It's a shame to have a hose or water pump failure, radiator failure. Something allowed the water to get out, and it should have stayed in.
Probably from running too hot. Then it gets to boiling, out it goes, and then maybe they ruin the engine. That's the expensive part of it.
Yep. Johnny
Unser just went by.
And there's Dick Simon.
There's Simple Simon.
Rick Treadaway. And I believe, yeah, that's Anna Beatrice in the Cobra.
Pretty car.
Yeah. And they're still fast.
I'd like to have one. Well, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Especially if it was one of the originals.
And I'm sure that is. Oh, that Mustang that just went by ahead of Dick Simon, that's the one with the right-hand drive, the number 6.
I've never seen one of those before.
I hadn't either. You know what we had running out here earlier? We had a 1956 Thunderbird R, the race model Ford Thunderbird. It had the bodywork that went over where the passenger seat would be, and it had that big sculpted piece behind, like the old XKE, the racers, or the
Chevrolet
D-Type.
Used to make them like that too. Yeah, yeah.
So we've got one of those running here, and it ran up front. We've got a double yellow now, so that's going to slow the field a bit. And it may well be for the number 21, so they can get that car out of there. Can't really see what's happening.
Look at here.
It's
Look
another one.
Man, that's an expensive one. That's bad.
You know who that is, though? Paul Tracy.
Oh, really?
Tore up the front a bit there. It got to some tire rub going on.
Yeah, that isn't oil smoke. That's tire smoke.
Yeah.
Fender rubbing on the tire.
And that is that's the same car Paul Tracy drove last year with Gary Moore, and they won their portion of the race here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They have 2 classes that are out here running, A production and B production.
Tracy's still a fast race driver, you know.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting a little heavy, but boy, is he fast.
It's a good thing he's still in the car.
I know it. I told him yesterday, I said, how much you weighing? I was at the meeting down there. How much you weighing? It looks like he's all muscle, but I'm sure there's a lot of it not muscle, you know. But he still knows how to drive a race car.
That he does. And I hope they'll be able to pull that body work out from the front end, and Gary Moore will be able to race a little bit more over the course of this weekend. I don't know if it'll be worth trying to tackle here
There's
with
my
the
son,
remaining
Robbie.
minutes.
Who's that behind him? Missed
That's
that one.
27. Let's see. That is Bob Lazier behind him.
Oh, it is. Oh. Well, now that'll be a good contest there.
They got a good group of drivers all over this racetrack, and about a handful there running together. So Robbie keeping Bob Lazier behind him now.
That'll be good to see here. Lazier's a heck of a lot older than Robbie is, so Robbie ought to be able to. Well, the yellow flag has got it all shut down now, slowed down.
And it
We're
looks
sitting here running, trying to get them going.
That's it.
And I forget that the yellow flag's out.
They even put out the pace car for this one.
Yeah.
They're not going to leave anything to the drivers. Jacques Lazier is at the head of the field behind the pace car. Then we've got Willie T. Ribbs, and it looks like Johnny Unser is third behind the pace car, and I think that's Bill Elliott fourth in that. There they go, right by us. There's Elliott in the Mustang. So it was a
now
different
you know,
car.
and that Elliott came along a good NASCAR engine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when Bill Elliott comes north up here, he's going to have good stuff comes with
Yep.
him.
Insurance.
The insurance. The guy's fast anyway.
So drivers letting the tires cool down a bit. Not that they wanted to. They really have no choice behind the pace car. And it looks like that third car behind him, that's the 33, Davey Hamilton behind the wheel.
You know, roughly these cars weigh 3,000 pounds, too. People are probably wondering. And 3,000 is still a lot of weight. And, of course, they don't all weigh 3,000 even, but they're all in the proximity of that.
And that's got to be a handful trying to stop them, number one, and trying to turn them.
Stopping's the number one problem. Not the going, not the turning, but stopping. Then the second one is obviously the turning.
Sure. So you brake going in a straight line, and then you turn.
Right. And the problem is they don't brake as good as they're used to with fancy brakes on these real race cars. Now they don't have it. They've got limited brakes, and they can't, I can call it cheating now because we're on the air, but they all would like to cheat and have better brakes than the other guy, because if they have that, they can really put up a lot of engine problems, get it out of the way.
Right.
Brakes are the single most important. Then, of course, making it go forward fast.
Sure.
But you got to stop all that weight. 3,000 pounds.
That is a lot.
Mm-hmm. For example, an INDY car weighs roughly 1,500 pounds. So it'd be roughly half of the weight.
And the speed that those got going
Well,
was
but they have
incredible.
giant
Giant
brakes. All air-cooled, vented in every way you can imagine. Everything but air or water coolers.
And what do you think about the evolution of the Indy car? When you drove it, things were pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a rocket with what, 4 speeds at that time?
Right.
4 forward gears, some disc brakes.
And they used to actually shift the cars with their hands.
Right.
Not some
On a lever.
paddle shifting.
Yeah.
No computers. If you're going to ask me, which I'm sure you're thinking about that, I think the cars were better back then. I think the racing was better then. I think the crowd loved to watch the drivers do more work, do something, have something to do with winning the race, instead of now it's basically a computer game. They're all spec cars. Big time computer game. Where do the drivers practice most today? On their computers. So racing has changed a bunch.
Yeah.
But there's an awful lot of talk about trying to swing it back into what the fans used to like the most.
I know years.
Of course, I hope they do it.
Oh, sure. But I know it was really fun back in the 60s, the 70s, where the cars maybe weren't necessarily as safe for the drivers, but you could see more of the drivers working. Now you get the benefit of being able to do that with cameras, but it's just, it's just not the same. But the survival rate is much better.
Hard to get the people to kneel down on their knees for a camera.
Yeah.
They want to see the driver working.
Yep.
That's what they want to see. They want to hear the drivers have more horsepower than they have sticking to the ground. They want to see some good racing. They want to see the drivers do it.
Yeah.
Not the cars become the big thing.
And when your career started, there wasn't the big focus on aerodynamics at that time either, downforce and all that.
Unfortunately, there was none then. We needed a little help in it.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to tell you, all the drivers would like to have some technology that the other drivers don't have. And we're all that way. I was that way. I invented a lot of these technologies. I was at the forefront of many of them. But that was nice for me. But it wasn't nice always for the other drivers, and it wasn't nice always for the fans.
Yeah.
But I must have done okay because the fans liked it.
And they still like you.
They still do. Thank God for that,
So we've still got some cleanup going on the racetrack and playing a game of catch-up. That looks like the number 74 of Bob Lazier just jetting by the start-finish line. 46A, your leader, Roberto Guerrero behind the wheel. The pace car, however, has picked up a few in front, and that includes, it looks like, Willie T. Ribbs and Jimmy Kite.
Another thing just to bring up while we're talking about that, just a little while ago we were talking about the Ribbs car being in 6th place. Now he's in 3rd. See, this is how it changes when you have a yellow flag, pit stops, throw all that stuff in it. Now we have a new race, total new race. Well, we've got Guerrero and then Sarah Fisher in 2nd, Ribbs and then Al Jr., my nephew. I mean, look at that. Davy Jones, Max Pappas. Max is really quick, too. And Johnny Unser is, up to 9th now? Then my son Robbie is behind Johnny. Yeah, got the 2 kids right front to back from each other there.
That's it. We got Elliott in 7th and in 8th, Mark Dismore. We need to get some green flag out there. We've got a little less than 10 minutes remaining. This is a 50-minute race, and it looks like we're right around the 41-minute mark. So hoping to see a green flag, and not just green-white checker. We want to see a few laps here under the green and let these guys have fun, let it all hang out a bit here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Brickyard Invitational, the Pro-Am taking place.
They've got their tires cooled, they've got their brakes cooled, and their radiators are cooled. I want to see a green flag real quick here.
That's that right-hand drive Mustang again.
Is
that's
it?
in the pits, yeah. Looks like he's a ways down the track. Can't see him from here. But, yeah, haven't ever seen one of those, a Ford Mustang with the steering wheel on the right side.
Now the cars are all closing up and catching up. We're going to see another full race when we get the green, which is nice. Have them all closed up again.
Yep.
Some good close racing again.
Don't want to just give it away. Make them work for it.
There's another mechanical there, the number 2 car. Obviously, they're changing something. They must have had some problems. Hood's up. Bad when you see the hood up.
Oh, yeah. 36, that's the Willie T. Ribbs car. And then Jimmy Kite and...
That Willie's been calling me for months talking about this race.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, about once every week, 2 weeks. He gives me a call. He's just so excited. Going to have another race. Boy, come on, Uncle Bobby, let's go to that race. Well, it ends up I'm here.
Perfect. That's perfect.
And I'm mighty glad I'm here.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
That's a bad sign. Come on, Willie, don't stop there. If you got to stop, don't do it behind the tree.
So something happened there to the number 36. Had been shown in 3rd place, but now has pulled off alongside the racetrack. And where he's located, I'm not sure that's going to be good for a green flag, unless maybe he pulled off to get back into line. Who knows?
I don't see any smoke coming out.
No.
Don't see any problems that we can see from the camera deal.
Hope it's not a loss of oil pressure.
Yeah, yeah. Now there we got the green.
And we've got the green flag. We've got a restart. And again, it's the 46A, Roberto Guerrero behind the wheel, followed by the number 3 of Sarah Fisher, the 42 of Little Al Unser Jr., 61, Davy Jones in the E-Type Jaguar, the 23 of Max Pappas, the 9 of Elliott, 317, Mark Dismore. And what do we see? Yeah, Willie's out with problems. He keeps falling through the order. They got him down to 11th now. 23 laps complete by your leader. Working lap number 24 for Roberto Guerrero. Davy Jones is really doing a great job in that old Jaguar. And he's given up some things with that car. That's a 1961 E-Type Jaguar.
We're yellow again. We didn't want that.
Sheesh. They lull us into that false sense of security that we're going to get a race out of this.
Well, nobody wants to see the yellow flags, but...
oh, and it's for Willie.
It was for Willie. There he is out of the car. Disgusted, obviously. Wow.
He never liked to DNF.
No, no.
I think Willie would rather not start than DNF.
Oh, yeah. He's the nicest guy. I'm telling you what. He just, it's too bad he just didn't make it in IndyCar racing because he's a good person. And then to end up being internationally known shotgun shooters, him and his boy, Tail. I mean, those guys are freaking good, you know?
And that's quite a skill.
Oh. They want to come out to Albuquerque and teach me how to shoot a shotgun. I think it's a lost cause, you know? Teo asked me the other day, because my right shoulder is titanium, right? I have a false shoulder. And so Teo asked me the other day, he says, have you shot a shotgun since you got your new shoulder? And I says, no, Teo, I haven't. I said, maybe we better try it before you come all the way to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
I said, what gauge are your shotguns? He says, 12 gauge. And I said, ooh, that hurts just thinking about it.
Yeah, I've done trap shooting like that before. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And these guys enjoying their time on the racetrack. Again, your leader is Roberto Guerrero in the number 46A Corvette.
And still yellow. Still yellow flag.
But it looks like they haven't put the pace car out this time. Because there is your leader right there, and I'm not seeing the pace car ahead of him. Hard to believe they're trusting the drive. Oh, there it is. Now he's just coming out to pick him up. I see.
I'm keep going from one of our screens to the other, looking to the left to see if
Yeah.
there's a pace car.
So we need
Now
that
they-
pace car to come in.
Yeah. But we don't exactly know who's causing the yellow. We think it might be Willie T's car, don't we?
I think it is. It's right alongside the track, and I don't think they want to take any chances with anybody nailing that car, causing any issues. So they're going to try and get out there, hopefully, and get that car out of harm's way quickly.
Yeah, if you've got the scoring thing handy, I'll just erase all of these laps so we get back to some green ones.
Oh, there they go.
Yeah,
We got
that's
the
what it
IMS
was.
safety
That's what
crew.
it was. Yeah. Come on, guys, run and hurry.
Had to get Willie back in the car. Get the tension out of that rope and unlock the door. There we go. So we do have him pulling Willie T out of harm's way there. They're going to try and get him off as quickly as possible and get him onto either pit road. It looks like it is pit road, so he stopped.
Shortcut.
That's good, the spot that he stopped. So maybe we will get a green flag this time around. I'm seeing the lights still flashing on the pace car.
Yeah, you like to see him go out, which normally means next time around. Are the lights off now?
And it looks like they're coming in. It looks like we're going to get something under green.
Yep. Yep.
And we're
yep.
going to go back to green flag racing.
There's our good news. Now that's, if I'm right here, isn't that little Al in second place there?
Yeah.
Wow, we're going to see some good racing now.
So they watch the starters. Starters waving the green. We've got a restart. And we've got Guerrero in the 46A. 42, Little Al. Al Unser Jr., the three
Look
of
at his
Sarah
car
Fisher.
wiggling, getting in there. Did you see that? You were looking at the scoring deal. But
Yeah.
look at little Al, the brakes. Remember, I said the brakes are the worst thing on the cars.
Right.
I see him wiggling, trying to get the brakes to hold him good, getting into the turn.
It's been interesting sitting up here in the booth and watching the cars as they come into some of these corners, especially 7, where they've come all the way down the back straight, and you see them just get on the binders and the front end just start to hunt, just trying to stop.
Yeah. That's all they have. That Guerrero's got it hooked up. See his car starting to wiggle with the brake? That's the brakes causing that. But he seems to be pulling away from Little Al a little bit also.
Yep, he sure is. So they're making their way around still. And I'm not sure what flag is coming out. It looks like the flagman's got something in mind here. Oh, that's not a good sign.
Ooh.
Looks like we're getting ready for the checkered flag, Bobby.
I don't like to see that yet. I'd like to see this thing
About
going
5
for a
more
long-
laps.
I'd like
Anyway.
to see about another 50, you know. Jeez. Things were starting to get good, you know.
And the checkered flag is out.
You know who
And
that
it
girl
waves.
is? You know who's waving that checkered flag?
I have no idea.
My
but
wife.
Is it really?
My wife, Lisa. Yeah.
Well, she's putting a lot of effort into that, I'll tell you that.
Tony asked her if she wanted to do the checkered flag, and I just thought he was crazy. But I look over there, and there's my wife.
Hey, she's having a great
ball.
time up there. She's having a great time. So in all the years that you were married and racing, was she going to the races with you all the time?
Oh, she wouldn't miss a race. She loves it more than anybody. Just loves racing. And she totally keeps up with all of it.
Oh, that's
Not
great.
me. She does and tells me what's going on.
So the checkered flag waves. Lisa Unser waving the checkered flag. Roberto Guerrero in the 46A takes the win.
I
And it
never
looks
thought
like-
she was going to get that sold. I really didn't. I thought her and Tony were just poking holes at each other, you know? Wow.
And that's no easy feat, having to climb up that ladder to get to the starter's stand.
Well, with my
either.
bad back, I told him I couldn't do that, and I wouldn't. So I was going to
Yeah.
come up here and help you out a little bit and see if I could mess you up instead of going
Hey,
up there and
I'll
waving that checkered flag. You
I've
know?
never had more fun doing announcing than sitting side by side with Bobby Unser. I'm telling you that.
This has been fun.
I've watched you so much from my living room,
Good.
watching the races there and throwing my 2 cents at the TV, rooting for you. That to have you sit up here and to have the honor of calling the race with you is really a thrill for me.
That's nice, and I appreciate it. Gives me the big head, you know.
Well, it's a good thing you don't have to wear a helmet now.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I'm going to run the one of the Indy cars later on. Hopefully today.
in the Legends deal on the oval.
Yeah, on the oval.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
and is it one you ran or?
My first Indy winning car was in 1967, and the very car is here. And the Borchetta brothers brought it back, and it apparently, many, 40, 50 years ago, whatever it was,
Yeah.
it went to Australia. And these guys bought it and brought it back and have rebuilt the car, and so I'm getting to drive it. I think that's really
That
neat.
has got to be so cool.
Yeah.
And do you remember where you finished in that car?
I won my first race ever at Mosport, Canada in that car. First
Wow.
Indy car race in my life in that car.
Holy
So
cow.
it really had a special meaning.
Boy, no kidding.
And it's so cute. During May, the car was here. And I'm talking to the guys that own it, but I don't even know they're the ones that own it. It was so cute you wouldn't believe it. And I'm telling them stories, and we're just having a ball talking when the cars are all over by the museum. And so it wasn't until after that I figured out they're the ones that own the car. Of course, I was talking to the crew members, which are all here.
Sure.
And my two cars that were in that whole bunch of old cars that were over there were the two best looking ones.
All right.
I was so
All
proud of
right.
that. And the other one, the 72 Eagle, that's the one I broke so many world records with. And that's not running here today, but it's here, all in one piece, for the people to see.
And I'm sure you've got some stuff over there in the museum as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
I need my share of the museum too, you know.
And the Unser Museum down there in Albuquerque.
Bunch of stuff. Yep.
So is it right on the main drag in Albuquerque?
No, unfortunately it isn't there. It didn't I think Al built it in the wrong place, but it's in a good location, but not for the people going through town to get to.
I
Bad
see.
location for that.
Well, I want to thank you for coming up here. This has been really a treat. And to see little Al finish in second spot, that's not a bad deal either. Let's see what happened with the rest of the Unsers. Robbie in sixth place.
I remember Robbie won it last year. I don't remember which one because last year was the only one I missed. I didn't make last year.